like an extreme example of this is, you were saying like, oh, like in New York, it's hard to have that bon homie, that friendly kind of a, larger city that just like kind of easy. The time that I most felt that in New York was right after 9/11.
Yeah.
Like everybody cared about everybody else.
Wow.
Everybody was like,
Jesus.
how you doing? Like just all the walls were down and everybody was more themselves
God.
because the social structure had died.
Yeah.
And it was a tragedy. And I'm not saying we need to have 9/11s every 11 years or whatever, but that's an example of when you don't have that eternal through line and the society needs to be, and it becomes tight, it becomes constrictive. Anything that can get air, that can get that to loosen and get air in there helps return people back to that level of friendliness and of, okay, like who knows, this doesn't have to be this way all the time. I can be more myself. There's a little more room for play. It doesn't have to be locked down in order to be perfect. It's not utopian. It can fail and we're still okay, whether that's because we're forced to see it fail in front of us and then realize, wow, we're still okay. Wow, okay. Or it's like, oh, this can happen because this is the festival of Saturnalia where we turn everything upside down and the social structure completely falls apart and I can be whoever I want to be. And then, tomorrow we're going to go through it and we're going to come back to it. But for tonight or the next week or whatever, we get to have this crazy party. Um, yeah. And that just brings to mind the, just real quick, I try not to talk too much, but I get so excited by how all these things connect. Like the Purge movies are like they're feeding that. They're an attempt to feed that need, but they're not actually, they're actually suppressing it because we get to act it out in the movies and have those feelings in the movies, but nothing changes. So it's the social structure trying to reinforce itself while suppressing the destructive issues by giving us stories that help us just like run through those emotions so the social structure can keep going on. But I think as we see, that's that's not going to happen. Or worst case, like something, there's a lot of talk about the collapse of Western civilization, and I think that's what people are actually sensing is this need for a death and a rebirth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we don't do it, it's going to happen to us.
Yeah. And I think death, and that's something about the eternal, that it reminds us that we will die. And I thought that's probably a lot of where a lot of the energy of 9/11 comes from. We're not so worried about the meetings, the money, the bills, and all that stuff, and the social kind of BS. The way that we get along with each other is, yeah, oh God, I can die, I will die. These humans around me matter a lot more, and they're like me, and we're all together.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the how you know what the Blitz is in London? Like something
Hmm.
like 40 days straight, 40 nights straight, the Germans bombed them like every single day. And there were other days, but like there was a specific period of something like 40 days where they bombed them every single day. Like this
Wow.
massive planes coming over, bombing your city and just people dying and everything. But they found out that, so one interesting thing that I remember is that the incidence of mental illness went way down during that time, even severe mental illness like schizophrenia and stuff like that, that we think of
Wow.
as totally organic,
Hmm.
went way, way, way down, like almost non-existent or something like that.
Wow.
But another thing is that they did studies decades later and they found that people had this like strong nostalgia for that time
Really?
because of how much people were
Wow.
together. It's like the togetherness like overshadowed almost in their minds all the death. I mean, at least it was strong
Yeah.
enough for them to have nostalgia. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can feel that. Like,
yeah.
I have nostalgia for the days after 9/11, but I don't want 9/11 to happen again. But I remember how warm everybody felt and how much we all seemed to care about each other. And yeah, no, I think you're right that there's something about having a catastrophe that needs all of our attention, that then our attention gets focused on that and it stops feeding all of these little things that drive us, these neuroses that drive us crazy all the time. That's really interesting about the, like the schizophrenia and the other mental stuff. Like the thing that comes to mind for me there is Malidoma, the shaman I used to kind of work with. There's an article of him going into, I think he wrote it. I'd have to try and find it, but I remember hearing about him going into a mental institution and realizing that like all the people in the mental institution, I mean, all is a, that's a little black
Mhm.
and white,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
all the people in the mental institution he was like, oh, these are all healers. These are all the people that came to bring medicine to the society, and the society has no way to welcome them or initiate them into their gifts. And so they just go crazy because they have all of these uh, urges or these voices, or they have these abilities to like, the thing I was thinking was like, during the Blitz, everybody is so focused on surviving and on being together and supporting each other that if you are a person who is aware of and holding the resentments and the anger that everybody feels, and all of a sudden all the resentment and the anger goes away because everybody's focused on this staying alive and holding the community, it'd be like a breath of fresh air if you are on some level tuned into, the people around you, which is what traditional culture would be a healer, somebody who's able to kind of feel that what the whole group needs, is able to speak the truth of the group, is able to run them through rituals or offer them, ways of healing on that other level. You have to be aware of that other level. And a war or a tragedy can very much clean that up, maybe. I don't know. That's brand new territory for me. I'd never thought about it until you mentioned the thing about the Blitz, but I could see there, not that that's easy to test, but I could see there being something to that.